Good morning. It's Friday morning at 9:15, and I'm just getting ready to start a retreat at home to get working on my third novel, which is called The Cloud, which I started writing in NaNoWriMo, and this is the result of NaNoWriMo. And this the next week, myself and my twin sister are going to be working on our novels together in our separate homes. I'm in Oxford, Julia's in Epsom, and we're going to take the time to work on our projects, but catch in with each other each day. And we thought it'd be an interesting writing exercise to share some of our conversations and our progress and the kind of things that make us work. And before I start, I just wanted to say two things I'm going to be doing today are, first of all, I've reread this to get myself a sense of what's there and what needs to happen to it, and basically it needs a complete and utter rewrite. It's an absolute disaster zone at the moment. I've got my writing journal where I'm going to be taking some notes of what I've done there. I'll be writing on the text, but I'll also be making some plans in here for how I want to change it. And I recently read this fantastic book, To Be a Machine, because A Cloud is about transhumanism and disablism, and I think To Be a Machine is a really good starting point. So thanks Frank Cottrell-Boyce and Gabriel Carlyle for recommending this book to me. So look forward to seeing you as the week progresses. Hopefully we'll get some good writing done, and we'll see you soon.
So today I'm doing something I've never done before, and that's taking part in a writing retreat. It's an online writing retreat I'm doing with my twin sister. I'm working on this book. The title's probably going to change. I need to do lots and lots of rewriting and replanning, and it's going to take me ages. But I've taken a week off work, and I'm hoping I can really crack the back of it this week, which would be fantastic. So here I am, armed with my trusty cup of tea, nice big cup of tea, with my New York cup that a friend gave me, to start work. Except I can't quite start work because I just found this in the bin, at the bottom of the bin, where there was no bin bag. I don't know why. I've got to empty that. Then I am going to go to my desk and start writing about an hour and a half after I meant to, because I got up later than intended. So this is a good start to the day.
So I'm just back for a walk. As you can see, my hair is all a bit of a mess, and I had a good revelation on the walk. I've had a character I wasn't sure of, and that character is getting ditched and merged with another character's story, but I've worked out where to put my evil villain in the story, and now I have to work out how to disguise them. Well, hello. How was your day? Have you managed to get something stuff done? Because last time
so are you recording this?
I am recording this, yeah.
Okay. I've done something.
That's good.
My difficulty is I've kind of planned. I didn't really plan. I made the mistake of not planning this book when I started.
Yeah.
Writing it, and where it started from is not where it ended up, because I didn't really know where. I did know where it was ending up, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. So the bit in the middle was, a bit messy. And now I'm rewriting it, and I've started it in a different place. And I'm trying to use some of the early material because it was very chronological, as sort of now, things that are happening now and then, and it's just trying to fit all that in. So I've done one chapter, and I've sort of sorted out another chapter, and I'm on chapter 3. I'm about to go and look at chapter 3. So
that's good.
I don't know really
how I'm doing. How many chapters are there?
36 or something.
So that's half the way.
No, I'll turn it off. I can't. I'll have a look in a minute. I've got two. I've got this is my work computer. So but that's
I've got my work computer, my non-work computer. It's a bit odd. I'm sort of this is my work room. It's also the girls' bedroom, but it's going to be my writing room this week. So it's a bit strange, but at least I have.
So have you gone? Sorry, that was.
No, it's fine. So well, I said I was going to write on this, and I have written on this.
Oh well.
I have kind of. So I have written, and there's lots of stuff like doing what you're doing.
Oh wow.
But
I've barely written on mine. Look, I've just got. I haven't got anything.
But you've actually typed. Have you been typing sort of?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
is yours all not all timed up? Yours is all
Yeah,
timed
no,
up.
it is typed up. It's just, but I wanted to spend today just actually stopping and thinking, because I haven't looked. I sort of looked at. No, I haven't. I just read it in the last couple of days. I haven't really looked at it since I wrote it in November. So what I've done today is I have got to where I wanted to, which is that I read through it. I then went through. I've got lots of things that's saying no, naff, or kind of crap, or stuff written on. But I've also just highlighted bits I like. There's some bits I found some anomalies, and my numbering went out. I went from chapter 1 to chapter 6, like somehow.
These are done.
You know, but and then, but what I really wanted to do was take a step back and sort of look at the kind of each person's story arcs, and then reframe those story arcs so that they actually made more sense. And so and then I think I said this morning, I wasn't sure about one of my characters. I had a character who I didn't feel was strong enough. When I sat and wrote their story arcs out, I thought, no, really not strong enough, but works as a bit character for somebody else.
Right.
And so I put those characters together. But on my walk, I had this revelation.
What was your revelation?
Well, it's kind of, it would be a bit of a spoiler in a way, but it was just, it's just, it's about the big bad, and it was just how to introduce them in, and because whether they were going to be a side character or whether they were actually going to be one of the main characters. And I found a way to introduce them as a main character, because I want them to be somebody that you don't realize at the beginning is somebody you can't trust.
Okay.
But I'm not quite sure if I can pull it off, and that's why it's a bit, I'm not quite sure whether but it's fun to play with anyway, and it may be that it'll just
I'm actually making, as you probably know, I'm making one of my characters more seductive and less obviously bad.
Yes, yeah.
So that I hope it's a bit of a shock when you turn and find out.
I think that's a good move. And are you happy with your starting point? Are you happy with where you've got to?
I think I am. I think I won't know.
Yeah.
I think I might change my mind again, but I think it's the right place.
Yeah.
I think it's the right place, but I'm not sure. It's just because I'm trying a different genre, really, I think.
Yeah.
And I think my mistake was that I was planning it the way I normally write, and it's a different kind of story, so I should have planned it in a different way, and that's where I've ended up in a muddle, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue.
Yeah. So, feeling it's been a good day, really, because I think I've got something done.
I think you've done more than me, probably.
I don't know. But we got started. That's the main thing. And plans for tomorrow?
I don't know, really. Just try to I think I'm just not going to be too ambitious, and just kind of just take it slowly, be a bit tortoise-like.
That's the best thing. And the thing that I miss is, it's nice doing it. I mean, one of the things that's nice about doing this as a retreat is just to be able to have the kind of motivation to kind of talk to you about it. But I am missing, like, if we were at retreats for you right now, somebody would come in and give us a glass of wine on our desks. And if we were at Gladstone's library, we could go to the nice big room with a lovely roaring fire and go and get a glass of wine in the Honesty Bar. So that'll be something we'll do post lockdown, but maybe have a nice glass of wine tonight. I think we deserved it.
Yeah. All right then.
See you in the morning then.
See you, darling. Bye.
Bye. And there you have it. Writing in a nutshell, taking the word enthusiasm and removing it and replacing it with eagerness, and then putting it back again. I've been at this for about an hour and a half, and I haven't got much to show from it, because I have gone through my first chapter and I just keep coming back to this first paragraph. But change is happening, and it's happening in a good way, I hope. And things are looking up, because Chris has just bought me tea and a donut. So we've just been catching up, and we've realised, it's been a weekend and we've done a little bit, but just how's it gone? I know you haven't done every day, but you've done some stuff. So where are you up to?
So where am I up to? I'm halfway through chapter 4 of, and it is 36 chapters. So that's what, ninth of the way through, or was it? No, something like that. And I need to speed up, so I've got to really focus, because I think I just want to get, I do want to have got through all of this by midway through the week, so I can print it off, read it again, and play with it, because it's really not. I'm sort of, what I'm doing is, I had a very linear structure, and which is kind of helping, because I've taken what I've started the book from what was the third part of the book, and I've started it from there. And so now I'm going back to the first bit of the book and sort of weaving bits of that in and making it go through, which is tricky. So far I've got up to chapter 3, and all the bits I've taken from the beginning worked really well with what I've been doing. But I've on chapter 4, and I picked out a bit, and I thought, oh no, this doesn't work. So I've got to now rewrite that bit and put the bit that I picked out later, or maybe get rid of it, or I don't know really, because actually looking at it was a bit repetitive anyway. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, it has been, every time I've sat down to do something's happened this weekend, and I've got distracted, and I got very distracted this afternoon in the garden, but that's actually quite good, because it makes me feel better, and gardening is very good thinking time for me. So well, actually it's not good thinking, it's I don't think when I'm gardening, but I think it's really good. It allows the bit of your brain that processes everything to formulate stuff, so when you come back to it, you're a bit freer. And I have realized, even just these last 3 days, what has really been interesting for me is that I have not had that processing time. I do not at the moment, with the way being in lockdown is, and working and being 9 to 5. There is no processing time anymore, because I don't have time on the train. I don't have time at lunch where I go out and sit in a cafe. I can't, when I'm not at work. Normally I go and sit in cafes. I have been out and about quite a lot, doing lots of walking, but I haven't been in the garden very much, because although I have done gardening over the winter more than normal, but I haven't, the last 3 weeks it's been cold and wet, and you can't even dig because it's been too fucking frosty. So now, like today was like a proper, like, oh yeah, I'm in the garden properly, and I just feel like it's been a bit of a zing moment for me. So I'm hoping now I actually have a week free, that I might be able to do it. That's what I'm hoping.
That's good. That's good. Well, you're further ahead than me, and in fact, I discovered yesterday when I was looking after we talked about how many chapters. I thought, oh, actually, I've got 36 chapters as well. Funnily enough, yeah, I didn't.
That's very twinny and odd.
Because my numbering was all out when I came and counted it. I have 9 sections with 4 chapters in each section, so that's 36.
Oh, I have it the other way around. You see, I have 4 chapters with 9 sections.
There you go. How interesting. But anyway, sort of neat. Twinly thinking, but I sort of like had lots of struggle. We were talking about, I ordered the wrong laptop and had to kind of sort that out, so that distracted me yesterday morning. But I did get going yesterday afternoon. But then today I've just been very distracted, but some of the things that I've been distracted by have been quite pertinent to the story. So we were talking a bit about Jo Wiley and her sister with learning disabilities who's suffering from COVID at the moment, and there's a whole thing going on at the moment about people with learning disabilities not getting vaccinations, and it sort of really fits with one aspect of my story, where I've got a character whose brother has learning disabilities and isn't getting the health treatment he's needed, which is sort of a theme of my career when I was working with people with learning disabilities, and something I worked really hard to get, and I feel we've kind of gone back in time over. So I've sort of found, just personally, just very involved in that story because of all the work I've done with people with learning disabilities in the past, and having family member with learning disabilities, but also it's just also made me think, well, this part of the story actually is telling something so quite truthful and quite important, I hope. So I
think so. No, I think you're probably right, because, like you were saying earlier when we were talking about this earlier on, I actually didn't realise till this week, and it has really, really shocked me, that people with learning disabilities weren't in the first wave of injections, because I just assumed that they were. And it really has shocked me that they're not.
Yeah, and I hope that, and I think
really shocked me.
Somebody like Jo Wiley and other people I know have done a really good job of getting it on the attention, and I just really hope her sister pulls through, because she's
awful.
but that aside, the other thing I did yesterday was my opening chapter has a character who has is pretty agoraphobic because she's lived in the house for a long time, and she's motivating herself to go out of the house. And I spent all afternoon rewriting this chapter yesterday, and it's sort of it was kind of one of those things. I did do a little kind of quick thing on Twitter of just like, I literally looked at the word enthusiastic, took it out, put in eagerness or eagerly, and then put it out again, returned to enthusiastic, and I still don't know which one was better, but there you go. But I did stop that at one point because I that sort of bit sort of slightly inspired by The Machine Stops by Ian Forster, which is a really fantastic short story. And so I went and reread that yesterday, and I love Ian Forster, and he was real visionary, and he writing 100 years ago about a world where everybody lived in little rooms and nobody goes out, and the machine controls everything and nobody goes above the surface. And then this character comes to see his mother, and she's really horrified at the idea of him going to see her. It's a very clever story, and it's sort of, and there's a whole thing about the power they give to the machine, and what a theme that's really in Forster's writing is about divorcing ourselves from nature and putting technology in charge. He was writing at a time when he didn't even know where we'd end up with technology.
No.
I find that amazingly prescient. But anyway, that it was good to reread that story, because that's really helped me think about that character a little bit.
On that, that's what I think was one of the interesting things about the last few months, particularly over the winter lockdown, is sort of where I live. It's a very, very, very deep, very heavily populated area, but we have lots of green space, and our green spaces are so busy. I've never seen them so busy. And I think, if there is some good to have been had over the last year, is that actually people are getting back and connecting with nature again. Because one of the things I've really interests me is that how much I have noticed about the change of the seasons where I live, and I don't think I ever have before. So I think maybe that's something for my next book, because I think that's a really interesting area to explore.
And I think it also touches in my book as well, because I've had the same experience. I think it's sort of similar for lots of people, and part of my thing, although I was laughing because we were talking on WhatsApp earlier on about gardening and with our friends, and a couple of us were saying how crap we are at gardening, and you're very good at gardening.
I love gardening,
but I have actually got two of my characters are massive gardeners, and that's going to be a theme in this book as well.
Well, if you need any advice, darling,
I certainly will be asking you for. So, on that note, plans for tomorrow.
I'm planning to get up and start work at 7:30.
Woo! Well, I'll try and see if I can join you.
Whether I will or not is another matter, but that's my plan, because I think I need to get out early. I'm meeting a friend for a walk at 1:50, and I want to get as much under my belt as I can. And I just want to sort of plow through, because I feel I need to sort of just plow through and do what I do, and then go back and look at it. So I need enough time. I need to get as much of that. I need enough time in this week to have got that done, relook at it, and then tighten it up. And because there's a bit of me going, fuck, it's all shit. But that always happens, and I have to remind myself that.
At some point we'll talk a little bit about your book, but I think we're running out of time here. So what we'll do is you're inspiring me tomorrow, so let's get up early and speak tomorrow. See you then.
So don't think too much of this.
Bye. So part of the fun of writing a book is trying to work out your interiors. So this is my attempts at trying to draw out my character's bungalow, and I think this one on the right is probably it, but I'm not quite sure.
So hi, how are you doing? How'd you get on yesterday?
Well, we were sort of talking a bit earlier, and it just, I guess it was a bit frustrating because I had a work thing I had to kind of deal with, which took up too much of my time yesterday morning, and meant I was very slow getting going. And then I'm working on my first section, which has got 4 chapters, and each one of those chapters I realise is too short, and that's because I did this during National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, when you're just doing 50,000 words, and so I've got a skeleton of book and I've got to add the flesh, and adding the flesh is what takes the time, because I'm having to kind of actually start describing rooms people are in. I spent yesterday afternoon drawing out my bungalow to character, so it's just
It's any consolation, I once taught myself a dance routine in my study, in this study that I sit in. So
yeah, you do
the things you do.
The things you do anyway. But after I went for a walk, now my computer's deciding it's not sorry, I had to just fire up my computer. After my walk, I just felt a bit more energized, and I realized that that's what I was doing, was putting the flesh in, and I felt less frustrated about it. And then this morning I've just had I just started doing a bit of research, because eugenics and disablism are quite an important part of this novel, and it meant I just needed to look at some Nazi experiments, which was really not very nice. But I was looking at Mengele, and I didn't realise Mengele studied twins. Or if I
can't believe you didn't know that. You're a biologist. I knew that. How did I know that?
Anyway, I'd forgotten it if I did know. But then Francis Galton, who I did know about, who's Darwin's half cousin, is the founder of eugenics, and he was the founder of twin studies, and he used twin studies to try and prove the point that you could get rid of bad genes and get rid of
right, okay.
So that was, I never knew that. But the nice thing about the article I just read about Mengele was that Mengele's research, vile as it is, actually disproved the whole eugenics argument. So there's something quite neat.
Yes, okay, fantastic.
So I'm feeling kind of like I don't want to look at any more research anymore, because it's too
no, you don't want to go there.
But I'm kind of going back into the chapter. I'm really feeling a bit more kind of like, yeah, I know how I want this chapter to go. How about you?
Yeah, it was all right. It was good, actually. I got on quite well. I had I've been sort of cutting and pasting bits and bringing back bits from that were in the beginning of the book, are now sort of pasted in as I think I was saying yesterday or the last time we spoke, they're kind of throwbacks. So I've got what's happening now and then what was happening then, and that's sort of working, but I haven't read it through yet. But I did manage to get to chapter 12, and I've actually changed the structure of my book. It was going to be 4 parts with 9 chapters, which is the opposite of you, but now it's 3 parts with 12 chapters. So I got to the end of chapter 12, which is good. So that's actually, I'm a third of the way through.
Excellent.
Except the next bit is the bit that's a bit wobbly, because it's kind of it's not quite the end, I don't think. Anyway, it's a wobbly bit of the book where I need to do a bit of work sorting things out, and I'm still not sure about how the back and forth is working, and I don't think I'll know till I've read it. So I've got 2 points here that I might do. I might keep doing what I'm doing. I might actually have 2 versions of this and keep doing what I'm doing all the way through, and then I might go back and see how it looks if I just put all the bits that I've been putting into the book as a section on its own, because I'm not quite sure. But we'll see. We'll see.
I want to check in with you, because we haven't really talked about your book, because one of the things about your book that I like, and is it's kind of 2 friends who have, who you start off having one picture of, and then you change the picture during the book, and what you've described is how you're just changing the timeline of the story. So I'm quite intrigued now, is like with this story, is are you feeling you're getting to the point where it's even more ambiguous what's going on with those 2 characters?
I hope so. That's why, because I think it was quite obvious in the first draft what was happening. I still don't think I'm there. There's one character who's obviously dark and difficult, and more obviously than the other one. And one of the things my lovely agent Ollie said to me was that Becky, who's the sort of sweeter one, she's a little bit passive, and I need to work on that, and I need to work on her anger issues. I think she's got quite a lot to be angry about at the end of the book, and I think I need to sort of build that up, because it's really about a friendship that goes horribly wrong, and the sort of darker character is very much in control of the friendship for a lot of the story, and certainly when they're children, and then it's sort of the balance of their relationship shifts because of various things that happen, and they're both manipulated by somebody, or 2 people, one person mainly, and that's kind of what I'm working on. I'm quite pleased I've sort of inserted this character who I wasn't quite sure how dark to go with him, and I've decided to go darker than I had to. Well, my original idea was to make him very dark, and then I softened him a bit. And it's quite a challenge because I'm trying to make him really, really attractive, so you understand why Becky feels the way she does about him, but also you'll understand that there's a lot that she doesn't know that Daisy's keeping from her.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge actually, and I don't think I've got that right yet, and I think that will be the third pass the next time I go around it. I think that's where I kind of really dig down into that.
We've got sociopaths in our book.
Sorry?
We've got sociopaths in our book.
Yeah, I hope so, and a narcissist. But you know, the thing is, I think narcissists and sociopaths are words that are really thrown around a lot.
Yeah, they are.
I want to make sure I've got it right. And it's kind of, I read a lot of thrillers. This is a psychological thriller, which is a bit of a departure for me. And they're often very samey. The really good ones aren't, like Callie Taylor is fantastic, Ruth Ware's fantastic, Alex Marwood is absolutely a genius, absolutely would love to write like her. But I wanted to do something different. I think there is a lot of, it's, you know, you kind of know where you're going, girl in trouble, woman in trouble, bad guy, da-di-da, you know, and I want to make this a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I hope it's a bit different. It does. I mean, I think it's got quite a lot of common themes with a lot of psychological thrillers, but I hope it's a bit different.
Yeah, no, it sounds interesting, and I think I just think it's interesting because I was literally looking up narcissist. What's the definition of a narcissist? What's the definition of a sociopath? What's the definition of a psychopath? Because I'm trying to work out what my character is. So
yeah.
Like that. But I do know the sociopaths I know are incredibly charming and they're very good at
Anyway, go back way back, and I'm going back to experiences that I had when I was very young, and falling for charm. I learnt a hard lesson very young that charmers are really not to be trusted, and it was I got away with it, but this girl is going to get away with it.
And that's great. Well, it's going to be a really interesting book, and I think so have a good day, and we might not film each other, but we might
catch up later in the day. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Bye.
See you later. Thanks. Bye.
So here we go, and we're kind of losing count of the days, but it's either day 6 or day 4, whichever way you look at it. So how's it been?
Well, yesterday was okay, but it's been a bit hectic at home because we had a man come to cut down a tree yesterday, so there was a lot of sawing going on for most of the day, well, morning really. And then in the front of the house, we were having BT arrived to sort out our new internet connection, and were there literally all day drilling a hole in the wall. So there was quite a lot of banging. Our neighbours must love us. And it was a bit distracting, and I ended up going out. I didn't go for a walk yesterday, but I did do some gardening to sort of get some fresh air in. However, I did manage to get 2 chapters done, which was good. And then I had a brainwave because I've really got to a bit where I'd sort of ended a section, and then in my original version I'd given a 2-year gap, and that doesn't really work now. So I want to kind of show some of what happened to those 2 years. And so I was going to start a new chapter today with what happens in the first summer after one of the characters has finished her first term at university, first year at university, and I didn't get very far because I was going to send her on a summer archaeological dig, and then realised I know nothing about archaeological digs.
What's the dig?
No, I've actually changed my mind. I'm just sending her back on a. I thought it would just be easier if she's just working on a summer course. So
yes,
much easier, much more straightforward. Don't know why I didn't think of it in the first place. So although I haven't actually really done anything with that, I'm about to go back and have a little play with that. But actually, I ended up back in the garden again because the tree root has come down. The tree that's come down has massive roots. So my husband was busy attacking it, so I was helping him get lots of bits of wood up and down the garden. And also because that was actually what really took all of the time this morning, because they've been digging in our rockery to get this bloody pipe through. They'd had to dig a hole in the wall. They had dug up a lot of our rockery, which we had resorted early in the autumn, and so we then had to look frantically at the photograph I'd taken and work out where the stones went back in place, which was quite a lot of fun. And then I kind of looked at the jasmine and thought, oh, it's full of dead wood and it needs dealing with. So I did a lot of deadwooding, which actually seems quite appropriate really in terms of what I'm doing my, writing as well. But I haven't really got rid of much of the deadwood. So hey, tomorrow's another day.
Yes.
How about you? I presume
Yeah,
you've done
well,
a bit better than me today.
similarly, really, it's been very slow. I mean, I got to the end yesterday, more or less, of the first 4 chapters, and but today I've sort of got halfway through the second 4 chapters, so I've done sort of 6 chapters, some better than others.
Oh, that's good.
So 6 chapters in total out of 36. I suppose the 6 of the way through. But it feels very slow. I mean, I actually look in terms of kind of word count, because what I'm tending to do is take out words and then re-put them back in again. So it's not really moving the word count very much. So I did a little tweet today. Actually, I was going to do a little tweet today, but the video didn't come out very well. So I looked at my word count on my last draft, my first draft, and it was 50,098 words. And today I hit 51,000. It's like, oh God. But actually, by the end of the day, I'd got up to almost 51,200. So. But it's just not adding a lot in, and I think the whole thing about NaNoWriMo is you're doing 1,600 words a day, so you feel like you're making progress. So this kind of stage of things, it's like really busy, and I almost felt like today that what I was doing was like, when you've got a big painting, colouring drawing in, you're colouring in a little bit of it, it's just not making much difference. So yeah, and but I did have because one of the things I think I was struggling a bit with is my bad character that we were talking a bit about, my sociopath, and trying to kind of get that character, 1, interesting, 2, not obvious, 3, having a proper story, and that's kind of were in a way. So yeah, and I got out and had an amazing walk yesterday, which was twice as long as, not twice as long, but about half a mile longer than I meant it to be, because I managed to break my glasses, lose the arm, retrace my steps, and not find it. I couldn't believe it, but I went to my fantastic opticians today, and they sorted it out, so my glasses
fantastic,
fine.
Good.
And then, much to my amusement, when I went out for my walk yesterday, saw lots of copulating frogs. So that was quite funny.
There are lots enough pond too.
Yeah. So yeah, what else? I was thinking something else today about how it just sometimes is like wading through sludge and feeling like you're just not getting anywhere, but somehow going through it. I just know that it'll break through, and maybe what we'll feel at the end of the week is that we've broken through. So hopefully,
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All righty.
So tomorrow is a birthday.
Yes.
So I'm going to work for a bit. So work. So we'll catch up possibly Friday morning, maybe.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. And happy birthday to the birthday boy.
Okay. All right.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye. So how's it been going?
Well, after 2 or 3 days, I've done bugger all. Yeah, Wednesday was useless. Thursday I did 1 chapter. Friday I did nothing. However, I blasted through today, and I'm up to chapter 24, which is great. I'm all over the shop with my planning though, like in terms of, because I wasn't originally doing 4 sections with 9 chapters in, and then because of the way I've reframed things, I then thought, oh, the first section needs to be 12 chapters, which I thought, I'll go back to doing 3 sections of 12 chapters, except that just because of the way the timing works, I've now got 2 sections of 6 chapters each.
Oh my gosh.
So now I'm thinking maybe I should just forget the whole section thing. I don't know. So I'm ploughing on. This bit today was quite easy because it was bits I've already done, and I was kind of marrying them up. But I had a bit of a hiatus because I had to rewrite 3 new chapters, which I've done very, very quickly. So they're probably shit. But I just wanted to get on, and then tomorrow I've got some material I've already got, and then I'm going to expand on a lot of it because I'd rushed the ending. So I've got a lot more space now to play with at the end.
Well,
so I've got 12 chapters to go, I hope. But then I've got to print it all off. Then I've got to read it. Then I've got to, see whether it's working or not, because I don't actually know whether what I've done is actually working. So, but I'm really pleased, because yesterday I was thinking, oh shit, I'm not even halfway through. It's going to be, and I'm going back to work on Monday, and it's all going to be a disaster. So,
Yeah,
the trouble is they're having a birthday dinner tonight, so I don't know whether I'm going to be up to working tomorrow, but I should do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, it's kind of similar. Today's been more productive than the last two. I suddenly got really, really tired, and so yesterday, I don't know, I just couldn't. I did a deep clean of the bathroom in the morning, and then I was going to get to my desk, and that 11 o'clock I was going to carry on, and I just kept looking at the screen and kept having to lie down. Yesterday I was just exhausted, and this morning I just got going quite slowly, and I haven't been very fast, but I feel kind of like more excited by where I've got to.
That's good.
And I think the thing that I've had is there's this character that I'm reworking. I literally have been going over the bits. So I've spent all week going over the same chapters again and again and again, reworking and reworking and reworking. And sometimes I know that you need to do that in order to do what you've done, and then just kind of fire forward. So I think I felt really happy with one of the characters where I'd got to. Now, so I've added a load of words, like the chapter was only 900 and it's up to 1400, which is really good. But I've also rewritten it so many times. I've probably actually written about 5,000 words around that chapter, but it's only 500 of them have stayed. Well, no, that's probably the exaggeration, but so only about 500 of them stayed. But then I suddenly had a memory. I went for a walk this afternoon because I thought I'm happy, and I've just been going over those first 6 chapters, and 6 of the way through, and I'll be happy to move forward. And maybe by the end of tomorrow, I might have got 8 chapters, so that's 2 of my parts. But on the walk, I suddenly realised, oh my goodness, one of the things I've wanted to do is have my character Zara has a brother who's learning disabilities, and I don't want him to be a cipher. I don't want him to be somebody on the sidelines who is just there for me to be making the point that I'm making. He's got to be a fully rounded character. And I remembered on the walk that I had decided recently that he'd have a girlfriend, and that they were going to get married, and that's part of the story. And actually it's quite critical, because it actually helps later on the plans that they're making. And I'd completely forgotten I'd done that. I don't know why. I probably didn't write it down. Anyway, I just came back and thought, oh, better introduce Jill then, hadn't I? But it's amazing, because it immediately makes Arjun a much more interesting character. So yeah, just before we got interrupted by the phone, I was just saying that. So I think it's amazing how just giving somebody a line can make all the difference to a scene, and make all the difference to how active that character feels, and how real they feel. So it's funny, these things you forget. And the other thing I've been thinking, because I think that was what I was feeling a bit kind of bogged down with, was thinking, oh, this is all crap, and sort of we were watching episodes the other day, and the last episode of episodes, the 2 main characters are writers, and they've come up with a script that they think is really wonderful. And then it's only afterwards that not Joe Terriboni, Matt LeBlanc's character kind of absolutely disses it, and they suddenly go, oh God, how did we not see it? So there's always that worry when you're writing that you think it's good, and it's terrible. So even when I'm thinking, oh, this is terrible, it might be better than I think, but also if I think, oh, it's good, then I might come back to it in a few months.
I know. That's just, I think that's just the nature of the beast. I think you just go through this whole thing with writing. It's like you go from thinking it's the best thing you've ever written to thinking it's the worst thing you've ever written, to thinking it's okay, to thinking I have no idea. And I think when you get to the point where you have really literally no idea, that's when you have to hand it over to someone else. That's what I always feel like. But it's every single time, at every single stage of it, first draft, second draft, every stage. It's like, I mean, actually, at the moment I have no idea what I've done, really. I have no idea whether it's any good or not, whether it works, whether anyway. But I've done stuff. Yay! That's the most exciting thing, because and I was just thinking, oh, I wish I've got no more holiday left now for the year. I was thinking, I wish I'd taken 2 weeks off work. But if I'd taken 2 weeks off work, I'd wasted more time, I think. So.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of it. There's always time to expand into. But I think the thing is getting a project going and doing the work you needed to do and getting yourself further along. It's worth.
I mean, if if possible, I'd like to get to the end of that chapter tomorrow. That's what
Yeah.
I'd really like to do. If
Yeah.
I can do that, then I can just have a play with it for the next couple of weeks and then hopefully get it off.
Fantastic.
That would be my plan.
That'll be the plan. So should we check in tomorrow to see if the plan works, or do we leave it?
Yes.
Okay, well, one last check-in. But thank you for a great retreat, because it's really helped me keep
going. No, God, you've helped me, because I feel like when we were doing the marathon that you always used to cheer me up.
Well, I always said writing a novel is like running a marathon. So
yes, it is.
All right, I'm going to stop recording. And we'll speak tomorrow.
So at the end of the writing retreat, this is what I have to show for it. All of those pages. It's about 200 in all. I've done a lot of rewriting, haven't quite got to the end, which is what I'd hoped to have done, but hey, at least it's something, and I feel like I made a really good start, so it was really worth doing.
So my final word count was 52,752 words. Basically, I added nearly 3,000 on. Still a lot to do, but I made some progress.
Hello. So
Hello.
We've got to the end of our week, and I did nothing at all on Sunday, which was hopeless, but I did get up very early yesterday morning and powered on, and I'm kind of now, and I did a bit this morning as well, I'm now nearly at the end of what I had. Yay. Which is great, but I've still got quite a lot of infilling material to work out where to put, but I had a revelation about that this morning, and then I've got to put in some next chapters. So actually I'm going to end up with more than 36 chapters. I think I might be in up to about 40, maybe even 42 by the time I finish.
That's all right. Better to add more.
So I've got, and then I'm going to print it all. I've printed where I've got to off, which is about 200 pages, but I've got another, well, at the moment it's saying 300 pages, but then I might have to take some stuff out.
Yeah.
Put some other stuff in, so I don't know yet.
Yeah, but that's great.
But it's much, much better than I thought it was going to be, like on about Friday last week. Yes.
Well,
so I'm really pleased.
Sorry,
it was great to have the mental space to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
fantastic.
But I thought it was just really funny when you said you were up yesterday morning, because I was up. I mean, I faffed around all day Sunday, didn't get to where I wanted to go, was really cross with myself. Then got up really early yesterday morning and did loads of work. And by the end of the morning, before I started, when I went back to my proper work, the day job, I was feeling like I'd done them. And then I tweaked it a bit more this morning, because I thought about it overnight and thought, no, I wanted to change it. But I felt I got to my 8 chapters that I wanted to get to.
That's really good.
But it just took for both of us. It just took like you sort of, you run out of time and then you just get really inspired. It's weird.
I know, it's frustrating. It's a really annoying thing. However much time you have, you never have enough time. I don't know. Yeah. I've done it before where I've had a week off work thinking I'm going to do loads of writing, and then I don't. And then I get to the end of the week, I think, how did I get to the end of the week and do so little? This is so annoying.
But you have.
But this time I have. So thank you very much for all your geeing up, because I think if you hadn't made me do it, I'd probably have not got nearly as far.
But I think it's been good for me, because I just feel like, having you to kind of chat to and keep me accountable has been really good as well. And I think it's kind of interesting, because I think when I've done writing retreats before, it's been away from home, and when you're away from home and somebody else is doing all the cooking and all the cleaning, and
I've done no cleaning this week.
Think about any of that.
I just ignored my house.
Your life can just focus on the writing. And so when I've done those writing retreats, I've literally got up at 7 in the morning and finished at 10 at night, because I haven't had anything to feel like I've got to stop and do something else. And so it was I had much more time, over a week and a half really to do this, but it was around other things, so I couldn't always just sit and do my writing. When I did mostly do my writing, but I didn't do other stuff. So it's been quite interesting to do it in the work in home rather than away from home. But one day you and I will go on a writing trip.
Yes.
And I just think this is a good opportunity to plug the wonderful places I've been to, because there was in a little place in Little Whittingings, and I can't remember the name, but it's run by a lovely woman called K.M. Lockwood, and she hosts.
Oh, I know her. Right.
Yeah, she's got 2 writing rooms, and it's by the sea, and she does lovely meals, and she's a lovely woman, and it's a really nice little place, and the room I stayed in had lots of books in it. It was a lovely place to stay. And then there is also Retreats for You, which is in Devon, and that's where you have the fairies who bring you a glass of wine as you're sitting at your desk at 6 o'clock, and you have lovely
nice.
food and nice soft bathrobes, and when you go to bed you find the fairies have been again and put a hot water bottle in the bed. It's lovely. That's really nice to go. And that's also very nice, very social, because there's lots of writers come, and it's very well known in the writing community. And then the other place that I want to go back to is the wonderful Gladstone's Library, where they literally advertise as a sleep with the books, and it's a lovely little hotel, but it's got this fantastic library, which is Gladstone's very own library that he wheeled down the hill in his 80s to set this library up, and it was his gift to the nation. And it's a wonderful place, and it's got all his books and all his writing, and it's a lovely little wooden old-fashioned old library. It's a wonderful place to work, and they have an amazing room in the evening with a lovely roaring fire and an honesty bar. So one of these days we'll go to one of those places. But in the meantime, writing retreats at home work. And
yes,
it's good,
apparently so.
to do. And what
it
I
helps
say
when
to
you're
writers out there is do this. Make the time, make the time to do this, and do it with one of your
helps when your husband's recently retired husband has a tree to chop down and deal with.
Yes, make sure none of that
Kept him busy while I was busy.
Yeah. So the conclusion is we're really happy with where we got to.
Yeah, it's been
Great
really
stuff.
worth it. I never thought it would end this way. Not once. Despite all the signs being right there from the beginning. I'd stupidly imagined there'd be a place for him and me one day. That we really would be able to get away from her. But today, that's all over. When I came into the house expecting the usual, the sound of them fighting, the sound of her betrayal and his humiliation that always made me sick to the core and angry that he wouldn't stand up to her more. The house was silent. It was too silent, and it spooked me. "Anyone home?" I called, before walking across the vast hall to the kitchen, which lay slightly ajar. I entered, and then I saw him, lying on the floor, propped up against the fridge freezer in a pool of blood. The sound that came out of me sounded inhuman to my ears, halfway between a keen and a howl. No! We were going away. This couldn't be real. She must have done this. I ran to him and I tried to stem the flow of blood. But there was too much. So much. Hysterically, I found my phone and called 999. "She's done it," I said. "The bitch has killed him." I'll always remember the first time I met Daisy Collins. We were 8 years old and she'd just joined my ballet class. The class I had begged and begged Mum and Dad to get me into, despite knowing at some deep level they didn't have the money for it. Mum would have said no, but Dad never had it in him to refuse me. The only girl in our family of 5, I was and would forever be his little princess. Nothing was too good for his best girl. So Mum's pleas fell on deaf ears. "The boys do their football," Dad said. "Let the lass do ballet if that's what she wants." Mum grumbled a bit about football not costing a week's wages, but she took on another shift at the supermarket. I turned up at Miss Carey's ballet class with a second-hand pink tutu, new shoes and an ill-fitting cardigan that Mum had made me, but I never wore, because it wasn't like the other girls' cardies. Neither was my ballet bag, a drawstring affair from Primark, which, though pink, wasn't a patch on the pretty little ballet suitcases everyone else possessed. It was a mark of being different, and I knew it from the start. So I worked very, very hard to stay in the background and blend in, hoping no one would notice me. To begin with, it worked. I loved ballet and quickly mastered the first 5 positions and was well on my way to catching up with everyone else and being entered for my grade 1 in the summer term when Daisy joined the class. She pranced in late. She was always late. Miss Karen nagged her every week about it, but she would shrug and say her parents were busy and couldn't get there any earlier. That in itself was strange. At 8, the majority of us were still taken to class by one or other parent. But I never saw Daisy's mum and dad. She would arrive alone and leave alone, apparently walking all the way there and back
by herself. It seemed the height of sophistication to me. Mum and Dad barely let me breathe without being close behind, and I wasn't even allowed to go to the shop down the road, let alone attend ballet classes by myself. From the minute Daisy walked into the dusty old church hall where I attended ballet, we knew we were in the presence of greatness. While the rest of us laboured with getting our steps and arms in sync as a pianist plinked away on an earth-tuned piano, Daisy had a grace and ability we all lacked. Before long, Miss Karen was showing her up as an example to us all. I think she was just as dazzled as we all were, but sadly for me, the admiration was only one way. Although I was too shy to actually speak to my idol, Daisy soon clocked me as someone different, someone other, someone to be mocked and humiliated. First, it was my trainers, which apparently weren't trendy enough, which they weren't. Mum had bought the cheap version of what everyone else was wearing in Tesco's. No one else had noticed, but Daisy did. She teased me endlessly about them. If it wasn't that, it was my stupid Primark bag, or my old dress, my ridiculous cardigan. Week after week, she pulled me apart until ballet lost its shine and I started refusing to go. Mum typically went mad. All that money and you don't want to go? You were the one who begged us for ballet lessons, she'd say, and marched me down to my lesson and wait till I'd gone in just to add to my humiliation. It was only when Daisy bit me and I retaliated by punching her in the face that they realised what was going on. And when Daisy pulled out all the stops and cried big wolf tears to Miss Karen, she was believed, and I wasn't. And that was the end of ballet, but it was the beginning of Daisy and me.
The cloud. In the beginning was the cloud, and the cloud was good. We could access and store data at the touch of a button. We could interact with half the world if we wanted to, our infinite knowledge being infinitely available. In the beginning was the cloud, and we saw the cloud was good, but it wasn't good enough. We wanted more. We wanted to be the cloud, to live within it, forever immersed in its endless information, leaving our useless bodies behind. They said it would be decades before that happened, but some of us didn't want to wait that long. We wanted to experience it while we were young and full of life, before our organic matter betrayed us through decay and death. We had the brains, the time, the technology to make it happen. All we needed were the right subjects.